Hey guys, this is Dennis, the founder of Think Hero.
And I'm David Griffin, your resident comic book and video game guru.
And this is our review of Game of Thrones, Season 4, Episode 2, the long-awaited Purple Wedding episode.
Purple Wedding,
the fans call. What's the actual title of this?
It's called The Lion and the Rose, because you got, got a Lannister, a lion, and you got, the Rose from The Reach.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, The Reach.
All right, so finally,
Queen Marjorie.
Finally, we get to see what I've been waiting for since Season 1. King Joffrey, dead.
It's sad, yeah, it's sad.
It's happy. I'm happy and I'm sad because I hate him so much, but I love to hate him. Unlike the character of Shay, I just hate her. I just want her to go away. I don't care about her.
Right.
King Joffrey, I hate him so much, but I like to hate him.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna miss him.
Yeah. Jack Gleason is so great in that role. I mean, he's perfect. He plays a perfect, evil, sadistic little, he's not a kid, but young man, and he's just does a good job of it. And it's sad. I mean, those of you who watch our reviews for the last 2 or 3 years know that I've read the book, Dennis have not. So, Dennis was asking what my reaction was to it. And I was sitting there, as soon as the wedding started, I got sad because, this is the last time we're going to see Jack Gleason on this show. And I'm going to miss the guy. I mean, it's a character you love to hate. I'm going to miss the guy.
Yeah, my Joffrey hate train is going to be over.
Right.
Who am I going to hate now? I think that's a big question in terms of...
Hashtag hate train, yeah.
Yeah, who am I going to hate now?
Right.
Like that. I mean, I hate Shay, but that's for different reasons. I don't love to hate her. Just go away. But for Joffrey, I like to hate him.
Yeah, they stuck to the book, and it's sad. I was going to ask, I know we're going to cover everything in the wedding, but I want to throw this out there because I'm curious to see what people who've read the book, people who haven't. Let's say you haven't read the book, did you see it coming? Did you know it was coming? Or people who did, for me, I feel like the creators, the writers, who was George R. R. Martin, wrote this episode in particular, kind of did a lot of fake outs. There was a time, because something's going to happen, but Joffrey, he spit out the wine at one point. I was like, oh, and then it didn't happen. There was a couple times when he would pause his, he was just berating Tyrion. He would pause, and then I'd be like, and then it didn't happen. They kept doing that. I was like, wait, and it was such, even for me who had read the books, I thought it was still a tense moment, which is difficult to do, especially when you know something's going to happen.
What's also very interesting is that this is the second episode.
Yeah.
For a character, this is a character people have wanted to see get his due.
Right.
Which actually, that was my only kind of complaint is I wanted to see more bad stuff happen to him.
Yeah.
It was kind of quick. Not painless, but it wasn't, you know what I mean?
You want to see him suffer a little bit
He wasn't tortured like Theon has done, obviously bad things.
He's not Joffrey bad.
But he's not as bad as Joffrey. Right. He didn't suffer as much as Theon. We'll talk about that later. But yeah, I wanted to see some extended torture, some, embarrassment, not nothing. Public embarrassment.
Right. But in Game of Thrones fashion, the good people sometimes suffer worse than the bad people. That's just the Game of Thrones world. So, it is right. It's not just, but that's just how it is. Not that they did a great job, but I guess let's go into the wedding. Let's go into some more of the details. I think it's interesting to see this was one of the longest scenes that we've seen on the series where they stayed in one place. This is over 20 minutes long, the wedding, and just you can pick any interaction, and it's just so well done. I always like starting off with you have moments between Jaime Lannister, and Loras. That was a great scene. There's so many. We're gonna go through all. There's so many, but that was one of my favorites. Just how they were both, talking about Cersei, and he's like, well, if you put a child in her or something, she'll kill that child. And if you sleep with her, she'll kill you. And he's like, yeah, but hey, you're not gonna marry her either. So talk to you later. So that was one good conversation that I liked.
I liked Brienne when she went to go congratulate Joffrey and Marjorie, which was kind of more, I don't know,
probably out of respect. More than,
duty.
Right.
And then Cersei went to go follow her, and then they kind of had that.
That was a good moment. Because Cersei, you could see she was upset, but I don't know if she was...
She was kind of jealous.
She was a little jealous. Not so much angry at Brienne, but just jealous. She's like, oh, you do love my brother. That look in her eyes was just so... and I like Jaime. You can just see Jaime, looking back, what are they talking about over there? That was great. Of course, got to go into Tywin. There needs to be a spin-off show as, an older couple of Tywin and I call it the Queen of Thorns. What's her? I always forget the grandma's name.
Olenna.
Lady Olenna. They need a spin-off show of just them two. Whenever they're having a conversation, because she's so lighthearted and just says whatever she wants to, and I like how their banter with Tywin is just perfect.
Well, because they're two of the smartest,
very smart,
characters on the show,
right.
And so when they have different approaches to stuff,
right.
and they lock horns. but it's all very
part of the game.
Yeah.
They both know the game.
Yes.
They both know how to play. They're probably the best. Like I like when, I think that was Marjorie's father. So her son came by and tried to like interrupt. And she's like, go away. I'm talking to Lord Tywin right now. Like, leave me alone.
Yeah,
he's
just like a doofus. I mean, you know, he gave during the gifting ceremony, he gave the goblet, whatever.
Oh, and to give credit again, talking about the gifting ceremony, I thought Jack Leeson did such a good job when Tyrion gave him the book. For a minute, you think, oh, maybe he's maturing.
Yeah.
Because he said, like, you know, you saw Tywin look at him and kind of nod. And he's like, thank you, Uncle. We could all learn to be, you know, have time to read. And then, of course, he gets the Valyrian sword and just starts chopping
the one that Tywin made in the last episode.
Right.
So now we know where that went. We don't know where it's going now.
Don't know where it's going to go.
Also, another conversation is Prince Oberyn, the Red Viper, and like the whole thing about the bastards and talking with Tywin and Cersei.
I loved Inda Verma's, the lady, the beautiful woman from Rome who commented, that said, like, I have like 10,000 brothers and sisters. Like, they're like, I love the different cultures. They said that the bastards in Dorne aren't, you know,
treated poorly.
Yeah, treated poorly. And then I like this whole thing about women and children getting raped and killed. And like Tywin was just kind of like listening. He didn't seem like he was as much into the back and forth, where Cersei was in on it.
He kept jabbing her with the whole former Queen Regent.
Right, yeah.
Your former Queen
Regent.
Right,
yeah. That was good. That was a good moment right there. And then, so much stuff. And then, of course, I mean, you know, look at during the celebration, Joffrey's horrible display with all the, you know, the
War of the
Five Kings, you know, and
with the midgets.
And I love that Tyrion like kind of said, you know, pay them each 20 gold afterwards. Like it was shameful, and through the whole thing. I want to see what all you thought of this. I loved Varys' expression. Lord Varys, like they just kept showing him in the audience. He just kind of just looked like he was watching. He wasn't happy or he wasn't sad. He just kind of like he had this weird look on his face. He was kind of observing everything, you know, not a whole lot of emotion on his face, just observing everything.
Well, cool. Then you have Sansa, though.
Stone cold.
When they showed the part of Joffrey supposedly killing Robb Stark, you have, it's just, she's got this look on her face, stone cold, just like all this like emotion of hate and all this stuff.
And for a minute, granted, this is silly to say, and I realize what I'm saying, but it's, even though the book has Joffrey, you know, getting poisoned, whatever you want to call it, you know, dying like that. I thought for a minute, hey, they could change something up. I thought maybe Sansa was going to go grab a knife and just stab Joffrey. Like, I mean, I know it doesn't happen, and I understand, but I'm like, that could happen. Like, she looked like she was going to kill somebody. She looked pissed, and I always feel bad for Sansa because a lot of people give her crap, but, you know, I feel bad for her.
Okay, so the big thing, you know, obviously is Joffrey dying. So I want to talk about now the big mystery of who did it. I haven't read the books, so everything I say is pure speculation. So,
and I won't speculate.
When I watched it for the first time, I kind of got some clues. I watched it again a second time. It was interesting because I noticed Tyrion gave looks at people when he picked. You also had Sansa, who also touched the goblet. So it's like, oh, did she slip something in when she gave it to Tyrion to give it back to Joffrey? He also gave her a look at certain times. Also, when he went to get the goblet and Lady Olenna was there, she also gave him a look. And Lady Olenna has, you know, she's been like dropping a lot of hints, you know, before about just, you know, how the Tyrells have been helping out the Lannisters and how, you know, even in this episode with the conversation with Tywin about like the food and how the money that they are giving is what's really helping things out. And so I just feel like maybe there's a conspiracy going on, but though I don't know how, because at first I was like, oh, is Tyrion doing this in conspiring with Sansa and with Lady Olenna? But then at the same time, I'm like, well, then why would Tyrion set up himself to take the fall, you know?
Right. And again, what I'm going to say now is not from the books. I'm not going to speculate as what's going to happen in the next episode because that would ruin everything. But what I do think is cool, and you know, some articles written last night. One of them's on ScreenRant.com, and about kind of breaking down just from the episode, no books, what happened, or at least what we think happened. You know, it's cool. You know, remember Sansa in the previous episode got that nice necklace from the fool, Joffrey's fool. And what's great is Lady Olenna comes over and kind of, you know, looks like, I don't know, she's admiring the necklace, like looks at it. And if you look frame by frame, there's a a jewel missing, from one of the, from the necklace, and of course you would surmise then that she would have obviously probably would put that in the wine, which would have dissolved into whatever this is. This is just from the episode. Into what killed Joffrey. That's just one of the things. If you look frame by frame.
Well, and also you have the whole jester guy coming up to her as he's
at
dying.
the end, like, come with me now.
Yeah, so he knows what's up.
Right.
Maybe he got paid by, Lady Olenna or whatever. Also, I think what made me very suspicious about Lady Olenna is when she goes up to Sansa and says, I'm sorry about your brother. I know this is war, but no one should ever be killed at a wedding.
At a wedding, right.
Yeah.
Bam!
Yeah.
And
boom. And then someone dies later at a wedding.
Right.
So that's kind of what made me suspicious of her and maybe conspiring with some other people. Also, another suspect is Prince Oberyn, Red Viper. I mean, he threatened when he, got to King's Landing to Tyrion, hey, we're going to pay our debts as well. Yeah. And maybe this is it. So
you wonder, I mean, who knows? Again, I'm just throwing stuff out there. Who knows if Tyrion, when he's in the jail cell, maybe he'll, accuse, Prince Oberyn of something. I don't know what defense he's going to use. I'm just saying, what if, he says he killed him or something? Who knows?
And then also in the trailer, you see that Tyrion, he says something about like, oh, I'm not going to talk my way out of this one.
Right. So, I mean, we know, this is not, again, spoiling anything. This is just from the big trailers that we've seen. You see that it's like there's like a courtroom scene of some kind, and I think somebody, like he says, if you've come for justice, you've come to the wrong place. So we know Tyrion's going to be tested. He's going to be tried in some type of way. So I mean, again, it's going to be interesting to see what his defense is going to be, because there's a lot. That whole scene was just great how they played all that. And the wedding aside, I mean, that's the big moment. Wedding's a big moment. That's the purple wedding. So everybody wants to talk about. There were other places to visit. The places to journey to in Westeros. And also, before we leave, talk a few things about King's Landing. Talk about Shay for one thing. First, I want to talk about Shay is about Jaime Lannister's training. We got to see him and Tyrion have lunch together, whatever, which was great. I like how Tyrion's like, no one's eating. Sansa won't eat because she's depressed. You won't eat because you're depressed because you lost your hand. And he's training with Bronn. Now, for those of the book, and again, no spoilers here. It's just interesting that in the book he trains with Sir Ilan Payne. If you remember, Sir Ilan Payne is the one who chops Ned Stark's head off with ice, and in the book, Sir Ilan Payne also still has ice. Even during this part when he's training Jaime, he has ice. So ice hasn't been broken down, which again, I don't care. It's just interesting. But I think Bronn's a better choice. First of all, Sir Ilan Payne doesn't have a tongue, so that'd be kind of boring just watching him just cackle. So it was great watching Bronn, because Bronn's just hilarious. He's got so much charisma. Trained Jaime. They're both like hot-headed guys, and it's great to see them. I think there's going to be some great scenes watching them train.
Yeah, I think a good chemistry is going to develop between those two.
Right, and for fans of the book, this isn't the way we thought it would happen, so that's awesome. Something new, so that's great. But I know you have some thoughts of your Dennis's favorite character, his favorite character.
So another character that I hate, but for different reasons, Shay. So she's hopefully gone. I mean, I don't know. Some people are like, oh, maybe she's going to come back. Right. I hope not. I just don't find her character interesting at all. I don't think she serves any purpose. And all she does is basically, she's like almost asking to get killed. You know? She's like, oh, we'll take them on. We'll take them on. Who are you talking to? You and Tyrion are going to take on Tywin and Cersei Lannister. Right. I don't think so.
But I mean, those are pretty much the main events at King's Landing. Of course, the wedding takes King. I mean, it was great that we learned that Benioff and Weiss and George R.R. Martin said this season there's going to be big things happening like almost every other episode. So we're like episode 9, the penultimate episode, typically the episode where all the shit goes down.
You would think this episode would be like an episode 9.
Right. They said this season's not going to be like that. Stuff's just going to go down. I mean, the preview next week looks like there's going to be some more. Who knows? It looks like it's going to be good stuff. So let's journey. Let's go to, I don't want to call them the B team. Maybe that's too unkind. Call them the second stringers, the bench players. Let's go with Bran first. Talk about Bran and get to see the Reeds, the brothers and sisters. Get to see Hodor. Every time we get to see Hodor, hear that voice. That's always a nice time to
Yeah, it was very brief. We just see that he had gone into his direwolf because they're hungry, and so he's like starting to lose himself, and
he gets a warning.
He gets taken to the tree. I don't know.
Yeah, they call. Oh my God, I better not say anything because I'm going to get yelled at by other people who've read the books and say I don't remember that.
Okay, well, he gets taken to a tree. He touches it. Right. He has visions.
Yeah.
Some of those visions are from the past. Some look like they're from the future.
Yeah.
I mean, the past stuff is with Ned Stark, and some of the future stuff you see like a White Walker. You see
dragon wings
over a city, which we've seen in the trailer.
Right.
So it's kind of like hinting at something, that'll find me in the north or whatever the hell that voice was.
It kind of reminds me of like Lord of the Rings with Cate Blanchett's character going like, "What have you?" Is like, "I have seen, what is to come, and what has been." Like it's one of those like, that's a fantasy moment. I think some people get pulled out of the Bran story a little bit just because his stuff doesn't feel as grounded as everybody.
I'm not that interested.
Yeah, it's a little like, because I always ask you every year, like, what do you think about Bran's story? Because I'm like, if you haven't read the books, you have like no idea what's going on with him. He's just whatever. So
it just seems one of the least. It's not political. There's nothing. It's more mystical, and I am glad they're kind of folding it into Jon Snow's storyline, which I do find more interesting. Even though we didn't see Jon Snow this episode, but I guess if they merge those two, then I'll be much happier.
Right. So, I mean, then the next place we're going to go to, which is we all love the introduction, the Game of Thrones, theme, the music, the introduction. A place called the Dreadfort with the flayed man symbol, which you've seen in the introduction, which is where the Boltons are. Yeah. And I thought, Ramsay last season, he was just kind of, he was a torturer, he was mean, he was cruel, but like he didn't have anything to me that really drew me to him. But seeing him with his dad, that interaction was a great scene. I thought he did a great job. Once Lord Ramsay came in, they were, Lord Bolton, came in. They started talking about like, you're just a Snow. You're not like my actual you're not a Bolton. You can't do all this stuff. I thought those were some good parts.
And he gets mad at him because he did not want Theon flayed because he wanted to use him.
He's smarter. Yeah.
And also, he also used. I think Ramsay's character got a little more deeper because you could tell that he wants to impress his father.
He does,
he wants to please his father. He doesn't have his last name, and he wants to be accepted as his son.
And every time you hear Snow, even though they're not related, you have to think of Jon a little bit, just because, Jon, like, he wanted to be part of the family. He always wanted to be Robb and
Rick. But he was part of the family.
He was
unlike Ramsay, seems like he was more.
Ned loved him. Yeah, Ned loved him for sure.
And, and the opening sequence of him and that girl chasing down the other girl, and you have Theon as Ree.
Yes, master. Yes.
Creepy seeing him like that. I know he's done a lot of bad stuff, but I don't know if he needed to be, like that.
Right. What I like in the books, it's funny. Like he calls himself Reek. So in the books, when you read his chapters, it says Reek. It's no longer Tyrion. Like Theon. It's no longer Theon anymore. He's like lost his identity almost, which is really interesting. But what's sad, what I loved about the scene is that when he was shaving him, I love that scene. Like you could see like his hand started shaking. He was just shaking a little bit because he was mad because he learned that his friend Robb.
Well, none of that. He wants to kill this guy.
He wants to kill this guy. It's like, you mother, and I thought that was a great scene. I thought it was good.
Yeah, it was very tension filled because it's like here he is in the opportune time. He could kill him, but he knows that if he does, all these other people are going to get at him. So he's so broken mentally. I think even if there wasn't anyone around, he's worried that if he fails, what kind of worse things can happen to him on top of that. And I did really like that. And now Bolton is making,
he's got to go to this place called Moat Callan, which is where the Ironborn are. All of Theon. I keep saying Tyrion. All of Theon's people are. So I think we're gonna, maybe another little battle coming up here pretty soon. So he's got to go prove himself a man. Maybe he'll get his identity. Maybe they'll call him a Bolton. Who knows? So that's coming up. Then we go over, across the sea there to go to Dragonstone, where we have Stannis, and he's burning people. Milla Sondra, man, Carices, that's a beautiful.
Well, he's burning his brother-in-law, which is his wife's brother, and she's there, like, thinking it's a good idea because she's cuckoo.
Yeah, and I love, what I thought was really cool, and skipping ahead a little bit, I love the scene with Milla Sondra and his daughter.
Stannis' daughter.
Stannis' daughter. I love that scene because Stannis' daughter is tough. Like, she was like, her uncle had just been burned, and she could hear the screams, but she didn't seem like she was crying about it. She was just kind of like, I heard them. She was kind of challenging Milla Sondra a little bit, kind of being like, and I think they found a little common ground, even though I think Milla Sondra had maybe a rougher upbringing, with her, the girls, like, they call it like dragon scale or something, that whole thing on her face. I thought they had a good conversation there. I thought that was
that dinner was really awkward.
Dinner was weird. Got to see more of her wife, more of Stannis' wife for the first time.
And just to see her personality, like she knows Stannis slept with Milla Sondra. She's okay with it. She's totally bought into this Lord of Light stuff, so much that she doesn't mind her brother getting burnt. And Stannis even tells her about his daughter, like, oh, no, you can't touch her.
Right. Yeah.
So, and then she says, oh, okay, as you command.
So Stannis has gone crazy, but I don't think he's gone quite as cuckoo as his wife.
No, he's very stubborn, and I think in a different way, but also similar to Ned Stark, it's like, it's a weakness of his because
all about honor.
Yeah, and he can't compromise. That's the thing.
Right.
Ned could not compromise. He couldn't, he couldn't play the game, and Stannis either. Like, there's plenty of times. Which let me say this: now that one of the things we didn't touch upon about King's Landing. Okay, sure. King Joffrey's dead. Who is the king? Well, technically, Stannis should be king. Technically, Stannis, because Joffrey was. Supposedly a Baratheon, and that's why he was king, even though he wasn't.
Right, Renly's dead.
Renly's dead, so technically Stannis should have been king.
Right.
Should be king. So I don't know who's going to take over. I think Cersei is probably going to momentarily take over as Queen Regent.
Right. I'm trying to think. This one. So, yeah, I'm not sure what's going to happen. I don't know if you know. I'm not going to say what's going to happen, spoiler, but if you did, because he's not a big character, Joffrey's brother was sitting right next to him.
Right.
No, he was at the wedding. Like there was a part when everybody was laughing. This blonde kid was kind of ha-ha, and Tyrion looked at him. He just kind of got quiet. That's Joffrey's younger brother.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
I guess
people forget about him. He's. So
I guess I
Prince
don't know.
Tom. Please correct me again. I haven't read the books in like 4 years. Is it Tom? I think it's Prince Tommen or something is his name. Because remember the daughter is at Dorne. Yes. And I think it's Tommen. I think I could be wrong.
So either it's him or Stannis that should be king. So that's going to be interesting because there's going to be another war.
Oh, yeah.
Daenerys is coming. Stannis is still coming. Tyrells want to take over.
Yeah. Everybody's
Lannister's trying. Yeah, it's all a big mess.
Yeah. So I mean, this is another great episode again because the show's so huge. Yeah. We didn't get to everybody. Had to leave Jon and his people out and Arya. I'm glad we didn't see Dany. I love Dany, but I think Dany would have. Her stuff's so different. Like it would have taken away, I think, if we showed Dany this episode. Even though it's always sad we don't see her, but we'll get her next episode. So yeah.
All right, guys. So that's what we thought of the episode. What did you think of the show, and what did you think of Joffrey's death? Yeah. Do you think it was enough? Do you think he deserved more punishment, like I did? Even though I was happy to see him go, at the same time, I'm like, oh man, he deserved more. He deserved more torture. Pain for all that he's caused.
Right, but who's sad to see the guy go? Jack Gleason, no more Jack Gleason.
I'm sad because I think he was a good actor. I think he was a good actor, and the reason why I loved to hate him so much was because of his performance.
Yes.
It was so good.
Yeah, he was good, yeah.
You can post your comments below on the website, thinkhero.com, or on our YouTube channel, Think Hero Pro. Make sure to subscribe to that, and also let us know who you think is who do you think killed Joffrey as well, and what are your conspiracy theories? If you read the books, don't put anything in there.
No spoilers, no. Also, you can find us on Twitter if you want to come yell at Dennis and I for our mispronunciations of all these words that we don't speak fluently. You can find us at Think Hero. I'm at GriffinDE.
And we also have a Facebook page. That's facebook.com/ThinkHeroFans. Make sure you like that page and share our video on Twitter and Facebook and all that stuff. That helps us out. Thanks.